Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 10. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Braja Jana Ranjana. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Yamuna Tira Banachari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jayam Vishnupada Paramahamsa Paribrajakachaja Astotara Sata Shri Srimadesi Bhaktivedanta Swami Shri Prabhupada Ki Jai. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Namacharya Sila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Prince Kaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gora Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shamakunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai. Shri Vrindavan Mathura Dham Ki Jai. Navadip Mayapur Dham Ki Jai. Jamuna Mai Ki Jai. Ganga Mai Ki Jai. Bhakti Devi Ki Jai. Tulasi Devi Ki Jai. Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 10. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bhavo jnana tapasa putamad bhavamagata. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bhavo jnana tapasa piputamad bhavam agataha. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bhavo jnanatapasa putamad bhavamagataha. Vita, freed from. Raga, attachment. Bhaya, fear. Krodha, anger. Matmaya, fully in me. Mam, unto me. upashritaha, being fully satisfied, being fully situated, bhavaha, many, jnana, knowledge, tapasa, by penance, putaha, being purified, madbhavam, transcendental love for me, agataha, attained. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Being freed from attachment, fear and anger, being fully absorbed in me and taking refuge in me, many persons in the past became purified by knowledge of me, and thus they all attained transcendental love for me. Purport. As described above, it is very difficult for a person who is too materially affected to understand the personal nature of the Supreme Absolute Truth. Generally, people who are attached to the bodily concept of life are so absorbed in materialism that it is almost impossible for them to understand that there is a transcendental body which is imperishable, full of knowledge, and eternally blissful. In the materialistic concept of the body, the body is perishable, full of ignorance, and completely miserable. Therefore, people in general keep the same bodily idea in mind when they are informed of the personal form of the Lord. For such materialistic men, the form of the gigantic material manifestation is supreme. Consequently, they consider the Supreme to be impersonal, and because they are too materially absorbed, the conception of retaining the personality after liberation from matter frightens them. When they are informed that spiritual life is also individual and personal, they become afraid of becoming persons again, and so they naturally prefer a kind of merging into the impersonal void. Generally, they compare the living entities to the bubbles in the ocean, which merge into the ocean. That is the highest perfection of spiritual existence attained without individual personality. This kind of fearful stage of life, devoid of perfect knowledge of spiritual existence. Furthermore, there are many persons who cannot understand spiritual existence at all. Being embarrassed by so many theories and by contradictions of various types of philosophical speculation, they become disgusted or angry and foolishly conclude that there is no supreme cause and that everything is ultimately void. Such people are in a diseased condition of life. Some people are too materially attached and therefore do not give attention to spiritual life. Some of them want to merge into the supreme spiritual cause, and some of them disbelieve in everything, being angry at all sorts of spiritual speculation out of hopelessness. This last class of men take to the shelter of some kind of intoxication, and their effective hallucinations are sometimes accepted as spiritual vision. One is to get rid of all three stages of attachment to the material world: negligence of spiritual life, fear of a spiritual personal identity, and the conception of voidness underlying the frustration of life. To get free from these three stages of the material concept of life, one is to take complete shelter of the Lord, guided by the bona fide spiritual master, and follow the disciplines and regulative principles of devotional life. The last stage in devotional life is called bhava, or transcendental love of God. According to Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, the science of devotional service, ado shraddha tata sadhu sangha, tha vajanna kriya, tato nata nivritti syat, tatu ruchis tataha, ata shaktis tato bhavas, tata prema abhyudanchati, sadhakanam ayam premna pradurbhave bhavet kramaha. In the beginning, one must have a preliminary desire for self-realization. This will bring one to the stage of trying to associate with persons who are spiritually elevated. In the next stage, one becomes initiated by an elevated spiritual master, and under his instruction, the neophyte devotee begins the process of devotional service. By execution of devotional service under the guidance of the spiritual master, one becomes free from all material attachment, attains steadiness in self-realization, and acquires a taste for hearing about the absolute personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna. This taste leads one to further forward to attainment of Krishna consciousness, which is matured in bhava, or the preliminary stage of transcendental love of God. Real love of God is called prema, the highest perfection of spiritual life, the highest perfection of stage of life. In the prema stage, there is constant engagement in the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So, by the slow process of devotional service, under the guidance of the bona fide spiritual master, one can attain the highest stage, being freed from all material attachment. From being freed from all material attachment, from the fearfulness of one's individual spiritual personality, and from the frustrations resulting from void philosophy. Then one can ultimately attain to the abode of the Supreme Lord. Vitaraga bhaya krodha manmaya mamupashritaha bahavo gyanatapa sa putamad bhavam agataha. So in the previous verse, we discussed how Krishna explains that simply by understanding his birth and activities as being transcendental, one can become liberated when he leaves his body. But as I mentioned in my previous class, Krishna makes a condition, and that condition is that one has to understand him in truth. Understanding Krishna in truth implies that we surrender to him. If we actually understand Krishna's position, then we automatically become servants of Krishna, because he is so great, so powerful, so knowledgeable, so beautiful, so everything wonderful about Krishna, that we feel insignificant in his presence. We automatically become humble. If you do not become humble, then you do not understand the greatness of God. God can do anything. God never forgets. God knows present, past, and future. We cannot do anything. We can only do according to the capacity given to us. Even our intelligence, our remembrance, our knowledge is coming from the Paramatma. It is not our power. My thinking, feeling, and willing is coming from Krishna. He claims that in the Bhagavad Gita. In the 15th chapter, 15th verse, it says, Sarvasya chaham ridi sanivishta. I am in the heart of every living entity. Ridi sanivishtu. Residing in the heart, sarvasya, of everyone. Chaham, myself. So Krishna says, I myself am residing in everyone's heart. Mataha, from me, smriti, remembrance, jnanam, knowledge, apohanam, forgetfulness, cha, knowledge, forgetfulness, and remembrance is coming from me. This is a very, very direct, very, very powerful statement. We don't read Bhagavad Gita for entertainment. We read Bhagavad Gita to understand what is the nature of God. And unless we agree a priori in the beginning that God is omnipotent, he can do anything he likes, there is no power that he cannot achieve, that he cannot manifest. He is omniscient. He is completely knowledgeable of everything, past, present, and future. Unless we understand these two principles, it is very, very difficult to make spiritual advancement. And even here, Krishna says that understanding me in truth means that we give up vita, we give up raga, bhaya, and krodha, attachment, fear, and anger. We become attached to the body, and because we are attached to the body, we cannot be attached to Krishna. It's either one way or the other. Either we are in bodily conception or we are in spiritual conception. Spiritual conception means we understand that we are not the body. If you cannot understand you are not the body, it is very difficult to act on the level of the soul. Therefore, again and again, we are recommended to control the senses. Controlling the senses means that I understand that I am not the body. Just like controlling a motor vehicle means that you understand you're not the motor vehicle. You're the driver of the vehicle. If the vehicle goes out of control, then your understanding who you are becomes compromised because there's going to be a crash. So it's the same with the body. If we don't control the body, then we cannot be in control of our proper thinking, feeling, and willing. Then we become absorbed, we become disturbed by anger because we become frustrated. In the material world, it is very difficult to achieve any goal. We take birth, we grow up, we have so many desires to fulfill. We want a relationship, we want some steadiness, we want a home, we want children, we want a family, we want sufficient means to maintain ourselves. But these very simple things are very, very difficult to achieve. But if you look at animal life, they don't have these problems. I have a garden outside my house. Sometimes I walk up and down to chant my japa, and many birds come and fly. They fly in, they fly out, they wake up early in the morning, they begin to chirp, they know where their food is, they have their nest, they have their partners. Very often you see one bird and then another bird comes. Similar, exactly the same. Male and female. It is all arranged by Krishna. Animal life is totally under the control of material nature. And material nature is totally under the control of Krishna. But when you come to a human form of life, you get the choice to be controlled by material nature or to be controlled by Krishna. Therefore, the questions of material life are, who am I? Ke ami? Who am I, actually? Kene amara jara tapatrai. Why am I being persecuted by the triple miseries of life? What are the triple miseries? Adi bhautik, adi daivik, and again I forget. Adi bhautik means the miseries given to me by my body. Sometimes I have a headache, sometimes I'm hungry, sometimes I have insomnia, I get some diseases, I get old. So the body is always giving me some trouble. I have to keep maintaining it, feed it, clean it. This is called adibhotik. And then adidaivish means miseries caused by superior forces. Extreme heat in summer, extreme cold in winter, floods, earthquakes. These are called adidaivik. They are beyond our control. They come by the arrangement of the devas, of the demigods who are controlling us. And adi-atmik. Adi-atmik means miseries which come from my own body, and adi-bhautik are miseries coming from other bodies. In other words, adi-bhautik is other living entities giving us problems. Mosquitoes may come and bite you. Virus may come, like Omicron comes and gives us fever. So this is called adibhotik. Other living entities give us trouble. Plus, material life, human life, is competitive. We compete with each other for the resources of material nature. And by this competition, other people will give us trouble. Because when you compete, you have to fight, and sometimes the opponent is stronger and more powerful than you. He defeats you and you suffer. So this is called adibhotik. And adi-atmik is that my body is always giving me trouble. My head, so many things. So kena amare jare tapatrai. This is Sanatana Goswami asking Mahaprabhu. Sanatana Goswami was asking for on our behalf. He knew perfectly well that the goal of life was studying Srimad Bhagavatam, even though Sanatan and his brother Rupa and their younger brother Anupam, even though they were agents for the Muslim government, even though they had changed their names to Muslim name, Dabir Khas and Shakar Malik, these were the names of Rupa and Sanatan, they were so integrated with the government of Hussein Shah, who was the Pathan, the Muslim ruler of Bengal, that they had lost their standing in the Brahminical community. However, in their own homes, they studied Bhagavatam. They organized that Brahmanas would be present in their home, chanting the Bhagavatam whenever they were free. So they had tremendous knowledge of spiritual life. Still, on our behalf, they asked, who am I and why am I suffering? Hiya nai jane kamone hita hoy. I do not know what is good for me. So human life is meant to ask these questions. Why am I here? What is the purpose of my life? Why do I have to get old and die? Where do I go after death? What is the purpose of all this? But this, they don't teach you at school. They don't teach you at home. They don't even teach you in mainland religion. They teach you that even if you have some religion, even if you should believe in God, you should make God your order supplier so that your material life becomes pleasant. But Prabhupada, he commented that Krishna says that this material world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. It is full of misery and it is temporary. And the definition of a rascal is someone who's trying to make the dukhalayam material world into sukhalayam. He's trying to make the miserable material world into a pleasurable material world. That is like a prisoner in the prison. He gets a chance to speak to the governor. The governor has the power to release him. He can condone him. He can give him amnesty from his prison sentence. And instead of asking the governor, please let me be free from the prison, he's saying, I am a third-class prisoner, breaking rocks and being tied up with chains all day. Please make me a A-class prisoner so I don't have to break rocks. I can maybe work in the office and have some facilities. So this is not religion. This is called Kaitava Dharma, cheating religion. And therefore we study the Bhagavatam above all books. There is no other spiritual book that can compare to Bhagavatam. No, not even other Vedas, what to speak of Bible or Quran or the writings of the Buddha. Nothing can compare to the Bhagavatam, because right at the beginning, on the second verse, Dharma prajitta kaitavatra nirmatsaram satam. Dharma prajitta. All Dharma is kicked out, which is Kaitava. Dharma Kaitava. Cheating Dharma is kicked out of the Bhagavatam. And Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, they studied very deeply the Bhagavatam and wrote books and commentary here in the purport of this verse. Prabhupada quotes a verse from Rupa Goswami's Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Ado Shraddha, that the process of devotional service begins with some faith, begins with asking these questions. Who am I? What is the purpose of my life? Who created this? I didn't create anything. I came into this world with nothing. What right do I have to claim proprietorship over anything or anyone? No. So, Ado Shraddha, faith, ask these questions. Have faith that if you ask these questions, they will be answered, because God is in your heart. You're conscious that presence will be felt. If you associate with people who have faith in God, your own faith will become manifest. Therefore, tata sadhu sangha, that after having some faith, you associate with people who are interested in the subject matter, and it is called a sadhu. Sadhu means good. Sadhu means one who works towards the good of himself and others, who lives in truth. So, tata sadhu sangha, tha bhajana kriya. Then, among these sadhus, you will find one who is especially attracted, sent by Krishna within your heart, because when you're ready, Krishna will send the guru. You don't have to go looking for guru. You don't have to become a rubber stamp guru. You cannot be voted as guru. Krishna decides who is guru, and he sends the guru to that person who is sincerely seeking. If you don't find a guru, that means you're not ready. Have faith in Krishna. Krishna will take care of everything. That is called Vajrana Kriya, finding a spiritual master and taking initiation. Initiation means to begin. What does initiation mean? Initiation means that you make a vow to follow the principles of spiritual life and to practice chanting the holy name of God, which is the dharma of this time. So, this is called Bhajana Kriya. And what is the result of Bhajana Kriya? Of being initiated and following the principles of spirituality and chanting the holy names of God? Anartha nivritti. What is dangerous, what is unclean, what is counterproductive within your heart becomes washed away. Cheto darpana marjanam. The mirror of the heart becomes cleansed by following the principles and chanting the holy names. So, anartha nivritti syat. Tatu nishta. Then you become steady. Even other people will not convince you. We have so many cases of devotees who have come to Krishna and become so attracted that even their family could not stop them. So that is called nishta, becoming fixed. And then ruchis, then you get a little taste. You get a taste of what is real love, not lust. Here we have a taste for lust. We desire somebody. A man desires a woman desires a man. And that is the illusion of love. It's not really love. Love means that whatever the other person wants, you will do. Whether it's good for you, whether it's pleasant for you or not pleasant for you. So that is called ruchi. Then Ata Shakti means that you become attached to Krishna. You find out that Krishna is actually better than any other partner. In fact, you find out that as a spirit soul, your prakriti, your material, spiritual, your energy is feminine, your prakriti, and Krishna is purusha, is the only male. And when you realize this, it becomes Ata Shakti. When you realize the beauty of Krishna, you become attached to him. That attachment is very strong, and nobody can dissuade you from it. Ata Shakti, Tato Bhava. Then Bhava means you actually feel and experience changes within your mind and senses. Your senses will become enlivened. Tears will come to your eyes. Your hair will stand on end. Your voice will break when you chant the name of Krishna. You'll feel so enlivened. You'll feel so grateful to Krishna. You will do anything to keep that feeling. That is called bhava. And then when bhava becomes perfected, when there is no more trace of material thought or material deed within you, within your mind and soul, then you get prema or love of God. That is love. And when you have love of God, you become like a madman. Nobody can understand whether you're coming or going. So this is the process, the steady steps. This was analyzed by Rupa Goswami. This is not some sentiment. It's not some story that is very nice to hear. It's not some wishful thinking. It's practical. It works. He explained this 500 years ago, and it's working to this day perfectly. This is the process. And how do we practice this process? Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu. Hearing and chanting about Lord Vishnu, about Krishna. Archanam, Padasevanam. Smaranam, remembering. Archanam, offering worship in the temple. Padasevanam, serving the lotus feet of Krishna. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu, Smaranam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, offering prayers, becoming the service. Atmanivedanam, and completely surrendering. This is also explained in the Srimad, in the Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu by Rupa Goswami. Sri Vishnu Shravane Parikshit, that King Parikshit became perfect by hearing about Krishna. He was on the bank of the Ganges, He had got notice. He was cursed by a Brahmana that he would die within 7 days. He sat on the Ganges and he heard from his spiritual master, Sukadeva Goswami, the process of devotional service as explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And by hearing, he became perfect. Abhavad Vyasaki Kirtane. And Vyasaki, the son of Vyasadeva, Sukadeva Goswami, is called Vyasaki. Vyasadeva, Vyasaki, coming from Vyasadeva. By Kirtana, by reciting the Bhagavatam, he became perfect. Then, Tadangri Bhajane Lakshmi. Lakshmi Devi became perfect by offering her a service of massaging the lotus feet of Vishnu. In fact, when you see Lord Vishnu, his lotus feet are being massaged by Lakshmi Devi. Then offering prayers, that was Akrura Prabhu. He was very expert at offering prayers. He did so in the Jamuna River with Krishna and Balaram. He offered such beautiful prayers to Krishna. Then remembering Prahlad Maharaj, he was persecuted night and day by his father, but he never forgot Krishna. Sakyam becoming Krishna's friend, that Arjuna personified their friendship. And Atmanivedanam, Bali Maharaj, the grandson of Prahlad Maharaj, he became perfect by offering his head at the lotus feet of Krishna. So this is the process. It's called Nanavida Bhakti, the 9 processes of Bhakti. It is all very nicely explained. All you got to do is have the desire and simply read Prabhupada's books, listen to his lectures. Everything will become manifested. Your life will change forever. Thank you very much. Hari Bol. So we have some comments. Anna Maria, Hare Krishna, obeisances to the devotees, all glory to Srila Prabhupada. Mandy Pryor, Hare Krishna, and Atmavidya Prabhu, my humble obeisances to the assembled devotees. Thank you very much for participating. If you have any more comments, please feel free. These lectures are posted in Facebook under the Bhagavad Gita group and under the Hare Krishna Amsterdam Temple, and they are also posted on YouTube. Hare Krishna. See you next Wednesday.